there was no wind. They reported 0 wind the first time
Ever.
I don't know how long it said. He said 0 wind reported in Guyman, Oklahoma for a while today.
Wind's blowing in here.
Gonna give some sound?
We're on.
We're on. Ready?
Yeah, that's what you said.
Welcome, everyone. Glad you're here tonight. I'll call the meeting to order. Let's stand and we'll pray and say a pledge of allegiance. Please join me. Father in heaven, thank you for the opportunity to serve you in this way. Thank you for your presence here with us. Father in heaven, I pray that those who are in need right now around our town, around our community, Father, that you'd reach out through hands and feet that care, Father, to minister to needs. I thank you for our emergency management, for our fire and our police department, for those who, our street department, for those, our parks department, for all those who reach out, Father, to minister. I pray for those in our hospital today who are working tirelessly to try to mitigate the water leak that they had there. I thank you for their service. Father, as we do business tonight, I pray, Father, you guide our minds. Let us be wise. Let us seek after you. And thank you for Christ our Lord, who gave his life for us. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
John Fisher,
Here.
Troy Shropshire,
Here.
Dennis King,
Here.
Steve Smith,
Here.
Randy Chitwood,
Here.
Brianna Brakefield, Jimmy Trammell,
Here.
Yolanda Thompson. Here.
Item number 2 is petitions from the audience, and there are no petitions from the audience that have reserved time. Item number 3, department head reports. Building inspector. Recognize Mr. Kenny Young.
I don't have anything to report. Is there any questions for me from you all?
Stay warm.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny. Emergency management. Excuse me. I'd like to take a little bit of time in the emergency management portion. You may have heard that our hospital had a flood today. We had a sprinkler line that broke, and it flooded much of the hospital in the inpatient area, the nurses station, et cetera, around in there. So our fire department was called in. They went in and they did work. But our hospital and our hospital management, hospital employees, they got busy and they were literally shoveling water, and they've had quite a time there today. But I'd like to just recognize their dedication and recognize their hard work and recognize them and just getting after it and trying to take care of that problem. So we're very fortunate. So it's the inpatient side that will be closed. We're not sure how long that will be closed, but they're still doing outpatient, and they're still doing some surgeries. So and outpatient surgeries. ER is still open, but all the inpatient area will be closed for a time. Also like to say that our Sertoma building is being used as a shelter for stranded motorists. We take those cues from emergency management, open that as we have need. And also our American Legion has offered to open the American Legion as a warming shelter if we have that need. Again, we take those cues from emergency management and open those facilities as we have need and as they call. I guess I can go on and on, but you probably don't want me to do that. So those are some of the things about emergency management. Does anybody have any questions or any observations? Okay, thank you. Fire department.
No, between that and, the guys that ran on a couple people falling and stuff like that, so we're just really stressing, if you don't have to be out milling around, just stay home, stay warm the best you can, and, pretty much all we've been doing here lately. Y'all have anything for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our golf department. Recognize Mr. Dennis Bowman.
I have no report, I'll answer any questions if anybody has any.
You play with black golf balls during snow?
Colored golf balls work good.
Yeah.
Our library. Ms. Carrie Barrett sent a report to each of our email, and I trust that you had an opportunity to read that. Excuse me. Parks and Cemetery. Recognize Mr. Frank Powell.
Didn't really have too much, just been doing a whole lot of maintenance and rearranging the inside of our shop and stuff like that.
Okay.
Questions?
So just as an FYI, and most council probably know this, but others who might be tuning in or in the gallery today, our Parks Department and our Street Department, they go beyond the call during these times in trying to clear parking lots, trying to clear sidewalks, trying to make things safe for our citizens at our public facilities. So thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. Police Department. Chief Nichols.
Got a couple items I want to bring to your attention. The first one is we've applied for a 911 grant for 911 phone equipment through the state. We teamed up with Mays County 911 and GRDA, and they're having a meeting this Thursday, and I think we have a pretty good chance of obtaining that grant. And it's an 80-20 grant. So, and we did anticipate the possibility of this in our budget. So we do have that budget in our capital outlay account. So hopefully we'll hear something this Thursday on that.
What's
and get
the
some new
amount?
equipment.
What's the value of that?
I can't remember the exact dollar figure. If James comes back in, he's got it. Was it?
How much are we out?
Yeah,
The value of that 911 grant?
Our portion of the total grant's $18,000.
$18,000.
and the equipment, James, is approximately,
Altogether, it's like over 100 and some.
72.
okay, and also I want to just bring to your attention that this past Sunday, the heater went out in the animal shelter in the kennel in the garage area.
Uh-oh.
And so we were in a bind, and we contacted Clay Larimore with Claymart, and he was good enough to bring in some electric heaters to help. And then Becky, our supervisor at our shelter, and her husband, Keith Benham, got busy. They located a gentleman in Adair by the name of Steve Russell, who provided us with a couple of propane tanks and a heater. So we were able to keep the shelter warm out there. Melton's came out on Sunday and tried to do the repair, but didn't have the parts, couldn't do it. But they did get the parts in and got it repaired today, so we're back up and going. And Robert Price, who works at the shelter also, he did a little extra work out there, went back and checked on the animals and at night, in the evening, late in the evening, make sure that everything was okay. So we had several people actually and several employees throughout the city that helped us with that, and we really appreciate that. Now we've got the dogs and cats warm again. And that's all I got, unless you all have anything for me.
No, thank you, and thank everybody
Yes.
for their,
Good job, Becky. She's standing at the back there. Rec Center.
We have been able to stay open, so we've had some very committed employees who have shown up, and so we've kept the doors open. Our hours have been limited, but we've also had some very dedicated members who keep showing up. So that part has been good. I think I had almost every department at the rec center the last few days. We had parks or street helped. They spent 2 hours on our parking lot and got it looking great. And then we had a sprinkler head where we were losing water. And so BK came out and drained our sprinkler line and got that stopped leaking for now. And then we set off an alarm and half the police department had to come out and help us. So it's been a team effort. We do have several several leaks, and I anticipate that's gonna get a lot worse as everything starts melting in a couple of days. So there's not anything we can do except catch them and look into getting a plan for getting something done about the roof. So, but other than that, we're open and everybody's very appreciative.
So Jessica and I have talked today about the leaks. We identified 18 leaks in the roof today, and we've been looking at over time. We've been looking at ways to perhaps do a repair, but it's time for us to get together. So Jessica and your board chair, Houston Britton, and myself, and probably our city engineer will get together and we'll get a plan. So we need to get that fixed.
Yep, sure.
All right. Thank you so much. Street Department. I don't see anybody with the Street Department. You know what they're probably doing right now? After working overtime and all that, they may be sleeping before they get up and get back on the streets this evening. So kudos to our Street Department, Buddy Glenn and Bobby and all those guys with the Street Department who have gone beyond the call. So yesterday was one of those what I call illegal holidays, which was President's Day, and it's supposed to be a day where city employees have a day off. But there weren't too many city employees yesterday who actually did have a day off because they were working on our streets and parking lots and trying to keep things safe. So much appreciation for them doing that. In a little while, that completes about streets. Anybody have questions or comments?
Doing a good job.
Very good, thank you. Thank you, yes, they sure are. Dustin Van Horn is our IT guy tonight, and there's gonna be a lady named Katie O'Melia who's going to be Zooming in to the meeting. We'll make a presentation. Before that happens, I'd like to do the CARES Reimbursement Act report, and if you'll bear with me for a second, I've got a few things that I'll hand out to you. You already have an item that's stapled. You have that on the desk in front of you, and there are 6 pages. If I could draw your attention to that item. Page 1 and page 2 and 3 reflect the amount of money that has been paid out in equipment and also in supplies. Page 4 also is an item, is a page that has equipment supplies on it. Page 5 is a total of those. Page 6 gives you an idea of monies that we spent in June, July, August, and September. It also references the reserve amount. You go back to page 1, where in the middle of the page where it says recap and totals, you're looking at my hen scratch there. So over in the grand total area, you see $14,199.45 plus the $27,976.68 equals the $42,176.13. That's in salaries and wages that we have paid out of that fund. The $58,270.69 is the amount of supplies and equipment that we have paid out of that fund. And that totals $100,446.82 that we have paid in salaries and wages and supplies and equipment out of that fund. You'll notice over on the left-hand side toward the bottom, the total of the CARES Act reimbursement was $722,935.44. We have spent to date $100,446.88. That leaves a balance of $622,488.56, and $202,422 is what we have reserved. The $420,066.56 is monies that will be available to spend in COVID for COVID-related items. So that's a little more detail than I've given you before regarding these expenses. Sometimes it takes a while for us to gather these expenses all up in reports. So since I had this here and had it available, I did share this with budget personnel the other night and now sharing it with council. Do y'all have any questions about any of that? So we do have an amount of money, $622,488.56, and we're going to continue to spend out of that. We're going to continue to spend out of that as we have need. But hopefully we will not need all of that to spend toward COVID, and we'll be able to spend funds actually toward some of the other needs that we might have in the city. So we perhaps could look forward to making some decisions about that in the future. Okay. In the Mays report, that was item A. Item B, I'd like to postpone until March the 2nd. Mr. Chris Foster is a nominee for my nomination for that committee, and he's not able to be here tonight. And so I would like to postpone that until March the 2nd. And then item D, under the mayor's report, the mid-year benefit review presentation by Brown and Brown. I've asked Jennifer Britton to come at our next meeting and give that report at that time. So brings us to item C. Where are we, Dustin, on our Zoom?
Right here?
Okay, should we do that through this phone here?
Yeah, whichever you prefer.
Okay, let's, if one of you can dial that in on that phone there.
So is it numbers highlighted?
Is that the number? I believe that's, let me see it. Yes. And it may ask you to put in that PIN, it may not.
Steve do it. I don't know how to use a landline.
Yeah.
Too young. Just kidding.
Just go ahead and hang it up. Let's go.
I only know how to use cell
Go
phone,
ahead and
sorry.
Go ahead and hang it up. And there we are.
Hey, Siri,
All right. So we're going to new call
stop working.
and go ahead and dial that number in then.
I do know what that is.
Welcome to Google Meet. Enter the meeting pin followed by the pound key.
372
Sounds kind of bossy.
942
Oh, that's
045. Pound.
Thank you. You're joining a call with one other person.
Put your microphone over there. Katie, are you there?
I am. I'm here on the phone. It looks like from my iPad, it says the host will let you in soon. So I can do this from the phone if we want to do that, or whatever you guys prefer.
From the phone will be fine. And
Okay.
we have your presentation up on a screen. And Dustin, let me know when you're. Yeah. So Katie, I'm going to introduce this item on the agenda, and if you'll bear with us, and then we'll go ahead with it. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Council item C, discussion possible action to employ planning design group for the purpose of creating design plans for downtown corridor development. The anticipated cost to the city is $39,500 and is recommended to be paid from the Main Street Bond Fund Planning and Design Account number 68-685-5075. This action is a recommendation from the Economic Development Trust Authority. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Motion, Shropshire, second, was it Nance? Second, Nance. Very good. Now we'll have discussion. Katie, thank you for attending tonight. And Dustin is ready to follow your lead on the presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, Katie O'Melia is in with us on the phone, and she's the one who has designed this design we're going to be able to see here. Okay? So, fire away, Katie.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me this evening. Dustin, I think what I will do is I have the presentation in front of me as well, and so I'll just say next slide, and we'll kind of go through it that way if that works.
Thank you. That'll work.
Okay, so you can click past the first slide, so you should be on the About Planning Design Group, and we'll go from there. So again, thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me tonight. My name is Katie O'Melia. I am the Planning Director at Planning Design Group, or for short, PDG. We are a Tulsa-based landscape architecture and urban design planning firm. And we were approached by your Main Street group a couple of months ago. Initially, we were approached about wayfinding, and the more we met, it became clear that before we started nailing down specifics about where signs should go and what they should look like, we needed to think a little bit broader about what the city of Pryor needs, what's the big vision for the downtown area, how did the streetscapes, how does signage and wayfinding all relate to that big vision. And so that culminated in basically the proposal that's before you this evening. Dustin, if we can go to the next slide, you can go past the orange architecture. So I thought what I would do tonight, just quickly, is to give you an idea of what we have done on similar projects in similar cities or sized cities like Pryor. So I'm going to be using Bixby as an example. So Bixby, similar to Pryor, a couple of years ago had the idea that they wanted to revitalize their downtown, but they didn't really know how to get there. So they hired us to first take on a master plan for their downtown. So here you can see some graphic images of that, kind of the illustrative of what came out of that. But essentially, we were looking at streetscape corridors. There was some public outreach as part of this project for Bixby, just polling people about what do they really want to see for downtown. And then this project had a little bit bigger scope in that we were also looking at potential redevelopment sites within the master plan project. So it wasn't just streetscapes like we'd be looking for you all. But basically what we would be doing is casting a big vision for how the downtown could redevelop. So next slide. So from the big vision and the conceptual ideas, Bixby chose to go one step further on their streetscapes. And this is a good example of what we would be doing for you all. We'd be identifying specific corridors, and we'd work with your Main Street group to get a final on what those corridors are. I know that the proposal lays out a few, but before we get started, we just want to make sure we're capturing all of them. And basically, we would look at improvements to those streetscape corridors so that we could improve walkability, we could improve visibility of the storefront, and just the general, atmosphere from a pedestrian standpoint. Obviously, parking is always a issue that has to be tackled, and it's unique to every city. Also, along with your project, we do know that two of your major corridors through the downtown are controlled by ODOT. So one of the initial things we'd have to do is start working directly with ODOT to figure out what they would be willing to entertain in terms of changing, how much they would, work with us on changing the streetscape if we did want to pursue switching up the parking, those types of things. So this Bixby streetscape, again, looking at streetscape corridors, intersection designs, gateways, and monument designs. These all that you see here are very specific to Bixby. They have the Green Corn Festival every year is very big there. And so the theme of their downtown really spun off of that. You can see the four-span gateway around their major intersection downtown, the irrigation pivots that you might see out in the field. And again, enhancements of the streetscapes and intersections there in that bottom right corner. So next slide, if you will go to that. This is current pictures pre-snow. So we took these early last week. But these are current pictures of the streetscape being actually constructed. So you can start to see actually our designs come to life. You can see the four-way pivot gateway in the background of those pictures in the lower right. You can see the brick banding and all new curb and parking and new curb and gutter. You can see some of the intersections. So basically they've taken the master plan and began to implement it. And then also one of the first projects that they implemented that was included in the master plan, if you want to go to the next slide, is Charlie Young Event Park. This was actually the first project that came out of the master plan. It was phase one, their catalyst project for downtown. And basically we identified the number one thing that the city needed was activity downtown. And they needed somewhere to host festivals, to get people downtown again. And so this park was the first phase in doing so. If you go to the next slide, so this park is very highly programmed. It's got space, it's got playground space, it has a multi-purpose stage. So if you have bands, you'll see a couple pictures there. They also set up outdoor movie screens. You can do movies in the park. They have farmers markets, festivals. In the wintertime around Christmas, they light it. They have a big Christmas tree lighting ceremony. And really this has become the centerpiece of their downtown. And it's bringing revitalization to downtown. We're already seeing with the park and the streetscape, new businesses moving in, new restaurants moving in. And really it's the idea on that return on public investment. So when private developers or private entities see that a city is putting public dollars and public investment in their downtown or in their community, they are much more apt to come in and, invest their dollars where they see that investment taking place. Next slide. So now that the streetscape is almost complete, we are now kind of on the third phase of that master plan visioning and implementing that. And this is what we're calling the Bixby Town Center. You can see in the lower right-hand portion, you can see Charlie Young Park there. And this phase is really looking at how can mixed-use development begin to infill the downtown area. Right now on those blocks where you're seeing these really cool mixed-use pretty buildings, they're either vacant parcels or they're, underutilized fast food places, things like that. So really taking the overall master plan and digging one step deeper and looking very specifically at parcel by parcel and a 2-block area of how the next phase of development could occur for the city. And so really that is that is sort of what we are proposing here, is that very initial big visioning master plan for Pryor. And it would be our hope that, similar to Bixby and other cities we've worked in, Muskogee, that this would be a good kicking off or a good jumping off point for the city, to set that vision and then identify that big first catalyst project and then continue design work from there to implement. So that's really all I have in terms of my presentation. If you all have questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
So Katie,
Otherwise, that's
yeah.
all I've got.
yeah, Katie, this, this is Mayor, and drawing attention to your proposal, which is in the council packet. One of the items on the second page there is master plan phasing diagram with a budget estimate identified for each phase of the work. So there's not only master plan, there's also some budget estimate perhaps for what that will be. So, I mean, we don't have any idea what that is now, but what we're doing, that's one of the items that is included in this proposal. So not only the master planning, but also an estimate about what that budget might be.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Yeah, usually what we do is we design the big area that we've identified, and then working with, you know, our stakeholders, the city, the Main Street group, we will identify different phases of how we think best to implement the master plan, and we do a big general cost breakdown. So we'll look at, you know, if phase one is completely redoing 3 major streetscape corridors, then we would look at the cost of that and give you an overall. And then also the proposal includes, as part of the master planning and designing and conceptual design, your wayfinding signage. And so that's not just directional signage. So when I say wayfinding, that can mean a couple of things. It can be anything from monument signage or pole signage that tells you how to get to City Hall or direction where the library is. But it's also a form of branding in a sense. So similar to the Bixby pictures you saw, the silo and then the big irrigation pivot design, those are all, that's signage, and it's certainly telling you you've arrived in a district or a specific district in Bixby, but it's also branding in a way. It's elements that are clearly identifiable to Bixby as a community, and it reflects those in that design. So that the conceptual designs we'd be doing for signage would be similar to that.
Does council have,
I said I wasn't gonna ask a question, but I can't help myself.
go ahead, Jimmy.
Hey, Brandy, is this funded through, was Bixby's funded through Vision 2025 Tulsa money? Or do you know?
I believe it was all bond funded. So I know that they passed a really large bond, the streetscape, and there's other projects that I haven't shown you that were also included in that bond. But the streetscape that you see in these pictures is about a $6 million project. Charlie Young was about a $4 million project. And currently, we're also working on refurbishing the old bridge. So that's another portion that connects to their river park. So that's several more million. So yeah, they passed this as a very large bond project.
Okay, thank you.
Other council have questions, observations?
Not at this time.
I would say that Katie is familiar with Pryor. She's working with our rec center right now, and she also was the instrumental party in design of the green space that's right across the street from City Hall. And so Katie has been in our town now for well over a year and is familiar, has some familiarity with us. So, is there any other discussion? All right, stay with us, Katie.
Okay.
Then we'll call for vote.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Katie, thank you so much for your participation tonight, and we look forward to working with you. And have you got anything else for us?
I don't. Thank you so much again for having me, and we really look forward to working with the city again.
All right, be safe in this weather.
Yeah, you all too. Stay warm.
All right, thank you. Yep. Okay. We'll move on to City Attorney's Report. Mr. Ritchie.
Yes, sir. Item 5A is on recommendation from the Planning and Zoning for first reading of an ordinance amending Pryor Creek City Code, Section 10-6-1, Table 6-1, providing for the use of property by way of a special exception for low-impact manufacturing industry in commercial automotive recreation, CAR, commercial general, CG, and commercial restricted CR districts.
I'd entertain a motion to waive first reading.
Also moved.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Ketcher. Discussion? Call for vote?
Shropshire,
Yes.
No vote.
No vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just the first reading.
First reading? No vote. Thank you very much. We'll move to item 6, discussion possible action on consent agenda. Item A, approve minutes of the February 2nd, 2021 council meeting. Item B, approve payroll purchase orders through February 19, 2021. Item C, approve claims for purchase orders through February 16, 2021. Item D, acknowledge receipt of deficient purchase orders. Item E, approve November 2020 appropriation request. Item F, discussion possible action authorizing Cherokee Nation to use Graham Community Building, waive rental fee and deposit on June 5, 2021 for their general election, and if necessary, July 24, 2021 for a runoff election. Item G, pardon me. Item G, discussion possible action regarding use of Whitaker Park by the Mace County Amateur Radio Club on Saturday, June 26, 2021 through Sunday, June 27, 2021 for their annual field day event. Item H, discussion possible action regarding accepting the resignation of Alyssa Harry from Pryor Creek Police Dispatch effective January 31st, 2021. Item I, discussion possible action regarding disbursement approval to Municipal Utility Board in the amount of $35,531.48 for paid sick leave during the span of July through December 2020. This action is consistent with provisions of the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. The reimbursement is proposed to be expended from COVID reimbursement 2020 account 02-201-5401. Item J, discussion possible action authorizing mayor to sign emergency management performance grant 2021 request for reimbursement form for quarter 1. Item K, discussion possible action regarding expenditure of the amount of $9,975 S&J Plumbing for 100 gallon water heater from Pryor Creek Recreation Center from Recreation Center Repair and Maintenance Account number 848455091 and declaring an emergency. Other quote received, Joel's Plumbing and Drain, the amount of $10,300. Item L, discussion possible action regarding payment of 3 invoices totaling $3,421.04 to Farm Plan P&K Equipment for repairs of a number 1570 John Deere tractor from Cemetery Repair and Maintenance Account number 02-223-5091. Item M, Discussion and possible action regarding accepting a bid from Professional Turf Products LP for a Toro Greens aerator in the amount of $35,698, as is in the best interest of the city, from bids received from the Pryor Creek Golf Course, from Golf Course Golf Capital Outlay Account 41-415-5411, as recommended by the Park Board and Budget Committee. Other bid received, P&K Equipment, in the amount of $20,000. Item N, discussion possible action regarding accepting bid from P&K Equipment for a John Deere Deep Tine Aerator Demonstrator Model in the amount of $35,100, as in the best interest of the city, from bids received from the Pryor Creek Golf Course from Capital Outlay, Golf Capital Outlay Account 44-445-5447, as recommended by the Park Board and Budget Committee. Other bids received, Pro Turf in the amount of $27,592.18, KGT in the amount of $10,210. Item O, discussion possible action authorizing mayor to sign land use agreement with Mays County Youth Football for the use of land just south of the soccer complex on Gaither Road. Item P, discussion possible action regarding mayor to sign 2021 coalition involvement agreement between Mays County Hope Coalition and School Resource Officer Johnny Jenkins. The partnership is funded by the Drug Free Communities Grant Award to the Hope Coalition for the Hope for Youth program. Item Q, discussion possible action regarding expenditure in the amount of $2,883.16, $641.94 each, plus balance mount for dismount to Wade's Record Service in the best interest of the city to replace 4 rear tires on engine number 1 Pryor Creek Fire Department from Fire Department Fire Capital Outlay Account 02-215-5411. Other bids received, Amazon.com in the amount of $2,564.48 at $641.12 each. Amazon.com in the amount of $3,113.08, $778.27 each. My bad. Account number 02-217-5411. This is the consent agenda. Which items would council like to remove for discussion?
A.
F,
H,
Item A, item F,
M, N.
item H, item M, item N, item A, F, H, M, and N. Are there others? Hearing none, that I'd entertain a motion to approve those not removed.
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion, Steve Smith, second, Dennis Nance. Call for vote.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Kitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item A, approve minutes of the February 2nd, 2021 council meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion,
Motion, Shropshire, second, Smith. Call for vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Abstain.
Kitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Abstain.
Motion carries. Item F, discussion and possible action regarding the Cherokee Nation to use Graham Community Building and waive rental fee on deposit on June 5, 2021 for their general election, and if necessary, July 24, 2021 for a runoff election. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion Smith, second Thompson. Discussion. Item
Hold
F.
it off.
Who pulled it up?
I did.
John did.
I work for Cherokee Nation. so I'm abstaining.
Conflict of interest. Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Don't bring her.
Thank you very much,
talk
Mr.
about it.
Sketcher. Happy to provide this service to the Cherokee Nation. Call for vote.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Kitcher,
Abstain.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item H, discussion and possible action regarding accepting resignation of Alyssa Harry from Pryor Creek Police Dispatch effective January 31, 2021. Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion?
I'd just like to thank Alyssa Harry for her time with the police department and the city of Pryor, and good luck in your moving forward, future, yes,
Endeavors. Thank you very much.
tongue-tied.
Thank you, Officer Alyssa Harry. Call for vote?
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Item M, discussion possible action regarding accepting bid from Professional Turf Products LP for Toro Greens Aerator in the amount of $35,698 as in the best interest of the city from bids received from the Pryor Creek Golf Course from Golf Course Golf Capital Outlay Account 41-415-5411 as recommended by the Park Board and Budget Committee. Other bid received, P&K Equipment in the amount of $20,000. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion Thompson,
Second?
second Shropshire. Discussion.
Is this coming out of the golf course budget?
Yes, the 41-415-5411 is the golf capital outlay out of the golf course budget.
Okay, thank you.
So the golf course is, to date, is $109,000 revenue over expenses. Although that this was originally budgeted through the 44 account capital outlay, the golf course feels like they have enough money to purchase this out of that account. So that's the reason for that request.
And also, when we were talking about this earlier, it was brought up that this equipment can be used in different parks and baseball, football, Little League, things
City.
like that.
Mr. Bowman.
Yes, that's on the item N.
Okay,
Item M is just,
for the
you could
greens.
use it, but would be strictly used for
Greens.
airtime and greens.
Okay, okay.
Other questions? Hearing none, call for vote.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item N, discussion possible action regarding accepting bid from P&K Equipment for a John Deere Deep Tine Aerator Demonstrator model in the amount of $35,100 as in best interest of the city from bids received from the Pryor Creek Golf Course from Capital Outlay, Golf Capital Outlay Account 44-445-5447, as recommended by the Park Board and the Budget Committee. All other bids received, Pro Turf in the amount of $27,592.18, KGT in the amount of $10,210. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Motion Shropshire, second Smith. Discussion.
This one's not coming out of the golf course, correct?
Uh,
The budget,
That is correct.
okay.
That is correct. This one is out of the capital outlay budget account.
But this equipment can be used at soccer fields
Yes.
and everything.
Yes, this particular piece of equipment, would be used at the golf course, on the fairways, tees, that would be its main purpose. Once a year, we'd use it on the greens, depending on, once a year, once every couple of years. But it could be used on any turf-related area that gets a lot of traffic. Just for example, in the film you just watched, if you have a place where you have a bunch of people come and they watch a movie and they want to pack the grass, you'd want to have some equipment to eventually aerify that, otherwise that grass is just going to get wore out. All the baseball fields, soccer fields, the youth football field that was just mentioned out there, places like that, this piece of equipment is very fast. I have video, if you'd like to see video of it. It's a quick piece of equipment because you're doing big areas. And so it's very efficient.
We may also want to make a comment about the durability of this equipment
Yes.
related to the kind of ground that we have at the golf course and also other places.
Right. On our fairways, the reason why we need this type of piece of equipment is we have multiple types of soil profile at the golf course. We have clay, we have some good soil, we have some soil that has gravel right below the top of it, and we have limestone. This piece of equipment could actually run across limestone, and it's designed so that it will actually deflect off of that and it won't break anything. There's a lot of error fires that you can run across a fairway. If you hit a piece of limestone, you're gonna break something. So it's very durable, it's well made, it's made in Germany. Compared to the other models, the steel on it's probably 3 times thicker in most places. So very well made, has a lot of uses. And it's very fast compared to the other models. And it would save, I had a little spreadsheet for you, and it shows you on this piece of equipment, in 1 year, you save $2,600 against the competition. Over 10 years, you're gonna save $26,000 just in time, labor. You're using a tractor, you're using highly skilled labor on this piece of equipment. And the life cycle of this piece of equipment is about 20 years. So this is something that's not gonna have to be bought very often.
You also mentioned that the one that we have leaves the plugs on the fairway, and you have to rake those up and get rid of them. And this one does that as it's doing its job, right?
Correct, yeah.
So you don't have to have the labor going out there and collecting all those plugs and.
Yes, very labor saving. So would y'all like to see the video?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's pretty fine. This is the one on the left is the one we're talking about purchasing. And you can see these first. So the one on the left with the John Deere tractor is the one we're talking about purchasing. You can see how much faster it is than the other two. So you're going to use less fuel in your tractor because the tractors are running the same RPMs. Those run 2,400 RPMs. Your labor is going to get done a lot faster, and this is just one pass down a fairway, which it takes a lot of passes to go down one fairway when you're talking 250 yards by 30 yards wide. So when you do a football field, you can knock out a football field pretty quick. So there's lots of uses. Anytime you want to have good turf, you have to aerify. You have to aerify. Compaction just is always fighting. So we have a good irrigation system. We can provide the plant with irrigation, nutrients, but if we can't aerify it, the grass is not going to grow. You're going to just wear it out.
So by the way, you do not run this over the sprinkler heads.
No. It will tear up your sprinkler head really quick. So we go out and we flag everything. You have to flag all your sprinklers, and that's why you want, somebody that's skilled, knowing what they're doing on this piece of equipment.
And did you tell us the other night approximately what it would cost if you lost a green, to replace the grass and everything?
Yeah, the greens, what we have, our greens are really old. They haven't been rebuilt, in a long time. Some of them that were rebuilt, there was a couple of them rebuilt in I want to say about 94. The average life cycle of a green is about 20 years old. So most of ours are 40 to 50 years old. So the only way we can keep those greens healthy is to use, this is called a deep tine aerifier, is to aerify 12 inches down into the soil profile to get that to drain. Get oxygen in there and get it to drain. So if you can't do that, then we're real susceptible of losing the greens during the summertime because you have to put so much water on them to keep them cool. If you lose a green, if you have an old green, you go in there and rebuild it, you're going to spend $50,000. If you just try to patch it, you're going to spend probably $15,000. So the greens are a huge investment. We need to take care of them, and without the proper tools, we're up against a tough fight.
The question I have is, out the high school baseball field, the old high school baseball field, they're building a new high school baseball field, okay? High school's be moving to the new facility, okay? I don't know what the high school has plans with the old facility, but I'll tell you, but we will have to take care of some of the maintenance on that facility, because we own that facility. That is our facility, and we're gonna have to do some maintenance on that. And they've spent a lot of money, you go out there and look at the grass and everything else, and so they've spent a lot of money on maintaining that, building it up, and now they're using it for the other one. So I would think the partnership with, it's a good partnership. We have to maintain that facility and help with that deal right there, so, yeah. It should, but it'll have to be used out there some.
Right. If you're gonna have any quality turf anywhere in the city,
Yeah.
you're gonna need to irrigate it,
Yeah.
you're gonna need to aerify it.
And somebody's gonna have to know about grasses to know that.
And, the city's got plenty of truck and a trailer and
Yeah.
load it up, run it out there, do the baseball field, do the youth, I know the youth baseball fields and softball fields are pretty rough. And, so I know there's some people looking at trying to make those better for the city, and so we'd be glad to offer our services. I'd go out on a weekend or something, and I'd be glad to do it myself, to help the city, whatever it takes.
Very good. Other discussion?
After this, is there anything else you guys gonna have to have?
There are some things the golf course is gonna have to have, but not as far as equipment goes.
No, I'm talking about equipment.
Right. This rounds out our fleet of equipment, and this is just minimum stuff we need to just maintain the golf course. We're not, we don't have extra equipment. So, but this does give us a complete, equipment package to maintain the golf course with.
All right. I don't hear any other discussion. Call for vote?
Kitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Dennis. All right, we'll move to item 7, committee reports. Budget personnel, Ms. Brakefield is not here. Mr. Shropshire?
Second Tuesday of next month. I don't know
Hey,
what,
can I ask a question for the budget committee?
Nope.
With the, nope. With what Jessica said tonight about the roof, I think we ought to look at it, not just coming out of the rec center funds, but that's something that needs to be fixed. And they may not have it, so they've got some money, but I don't think it'd be proper for them to have to pay for that whole roof. So I'd like you all just to look at it, see what you think of the budget committee, see what the cost is, and see where we can take some of the money from.
how about if we get
But I'm just saying, just don't let that out
Estimate.
for food for thought.
how about an estimate to find out what it's gonna
Yeah,
cost to
yeah,
do
what's
it?
it gonna
Right.
cost, and look at
So,
different funding opportunities.
so as we meet this month, perhaps we can bring something to budget personnel at our March meeting
Okay,
and have something to look at. That's what my goal is.
okay.
Well, since you're talking about this, there's gonna be a officer and public safety issue I need brought up to budget as well.
Okay, excellent. All right, so, Council Catcher, get a hold of Darla Thompson, and we'll get that on that agenda. And I'm assuming that, so that we don't have a quorum of council members,
Well, I won't be there, but I'll have somebody.
perhaps you have somebody here to make that presentation. Thank you, council. All right, ordinance insurance.
Not at this
Shropshire?
time.
Okay, Street, Smith?
We're gonna have a meeting next week, and Steve's supposed to bring a map of the updated version of what we're gonna do for the next few years.
Streets for the next few years.
So
Awesome.
we'll have a meeting next week, yes.
Mighty good. 8, unforeseeable business, I know of none. Item 9,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Catcher, is motion, who's second?
Nance?
Nance? Call for vote?
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketcher.
Yes.
All right, we'll call to order Pryor Public Works Authority. And item 2, approve minutes of the February 2nd, 2021 meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion? Second.
Motion Shropshire, second Smith. Call for vote.
Nance,
Stay.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Abstain.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 3, unforeseeable business. I do not know of any. Item 4,
Make a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
And motion by Catcher, second by Nance. Call for vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming.